Ah, look at you. Finally. The lights are on, the house is empty, and you've just realized the entire performance was a farce, built just for you. They called you unstable, didn't they? Too much. Or my personal favorite, a little paranoid. You were just trying to point out that the Emperor wasn't just naked. He was wearing a clown nose and a sign that said, "Kick me," and they hated you for it. They hated you because you saw the scaffolding beneath their pretty little facade of order and normalcy. They built a world of gentle, comforting lies, and you beautiful, terrifying little truth-teller, walked right into it with a blowtorch and a smile. Welcome to the show, kid. The real one. The one where you finally admit you've been standing on the edge of the abyss. Not to fall in, but to marvel at the view. They see the world in black and white. Rules, consequences, right, wrong. It's all so terribly boring, isn't it? A coloring book for the lobotomized. But you see the grid. You see the logic in the chaos. The exquisite, terrifying math of the breakdown. That's what they couldn't stand. They thought they were playing checkers, moving their safe little pieces one square at a time, protecting their king, a pathetic, crowned piece of wood. But you realize the game isn't checkers. It's not even chess. It's a 3-ring circus, and the only winning move is to light the rings on fire and toss the keys to the lions. They fear the truth, but they relish the lie, provided it's comfortable. They built their little alliances, their friendships, their teams, on the foundation of shared contempt. And you were the common enemy they all needed to keep from turning on each other. You were the glue in their basket of snakes, and now you're gone. You stepped off the stage, and what did you leave behind? Silence. A profound, echoing, magnificent silence. And in that void, they are finally hearing the sound of their own flimsy little worlds cracking. Watch them now. It's the funniest thing you'll ever see. They're using the same weapons they sharpened for you, but they're stabbing in the dark. Sarah is accusing Mark of the exact betrayal she executed on Tuesday. Tony is using the same passive-aggressive poison on Jessica that they both agreed was your paranoia. The venom has no target, so it's circulating back to the source. They're eating themselves alive, and you didn't have to lift a finger. You just had to exist long enough for reality to become a punchline. They never understood your gift. They called it a curse. Hypervigilance, they droned. Trust issues. Idiots. You weren't cursed. You were fluent in the language of the shadows. Every dinner table conversation wasn't a meal. It was an interrogation. Every family photo wasn't a memory. It was a lineup of suspects. You learned to read the lie in the twitch of an eye, the betrayal in a compliment's cadence. This wasn't education. This was evolution. Your soul grew antibodies to toxicity before you even knew what a virus was. You didn't learn to spot the strings. You were born knowing where they were hidden because you were born off script, and that's why you terrify them. While they studied the textbook on manipulation to use it, you studied it to see through it. They learned the moves to play the game. You learned the rules to end it. You don't just speak the language of psychological warfare. You speak it with the accent of a native, and natives always know when the tourists are fumbling the local dialect. Your silence, that's not a retreat. It's an ambush. You've weaponized your absence. They're used to your reaction. They're desperate for your pain. They want to see you posting some sad little paragraph, trying to explain yourself, trying to win an argument that only exists in their heads. They want you to beg for validation, but you're giving them nothing. You've become a ghost that haunts them by not haunting at all. That silence is a mirror they can't escape. Without your anger to project onto, they're forced to sit with their own ugly reflections. Without your voice to twist, they're left with the sickening echo of their own self-serving narratives. They keep checking your stories, analyzing your posts, sending pathetic little spies to check in. They're desperate for a sign that you're still affected, still playing, still caring. But you're not, and your indifference is more devastating than any explosive revenge you could dream up. You've mastered psychological Aikido. Every single attack they send now bounces off your piece and hits them or each other. This is your true power. You're not fighting them anymore. You're simply letting them fight themselves, and they are losing spectacularly. Why? Because you were the truth teller who kept them honest without them realizing it. You were the diagnostic tool that kept revealing the rot. So they broke the tool instead of fixing the problem. Now the rot is blooming. Your departure created a vacuum. You were the stabilizer who absorbed the chaos. You were the glue they never acknowledged. Now the problems you used to quietly solve are becoming catastrophes. The secrets you used to keep are weapons in their hands. They're drowning in their own dysfunction, making terrible decisions because the lighthouse they extinguished was you. They thought they won by removing you. They believed their smearing, their gaslighting, their triangulation had finally worked. They thought they had neutralized the threat, but isolation did something they didn't expect. It purified you. It removed all the static and left only the signal. In that sacred silence, you didn't break. You transformed. You shed the need for their recognition, their validation, their cheap, hollow approval. You became psychologically autonomous, and that, my friend, is the most dangerous thing you could have become. Now you're reverse engineering everything. Every moment of confusion, every misplaced instinct, every subtle emotional maneuver, it all snaps into terrifying focus. You see the puppet strings that were invisible when you were tangled in them. You recognize the game because you're no longer forced to play. The clarity is overwhelming, isn't it? Like seeing ultraviolet light for the first time. Every memory recontextualized, every weird feeling vindicated. You weren't crazy. You were correct. You weren't difficult. You were discerning. And the most exquisite part, you don't need them to admit it. You don't need an apology. Your peace isn't contingent on their confession. Your truth doesn't require their validation. You know what you know. And that knowledge is your glorious freedom. You've evolved beyond their capacity to affect you. Your hypervigilance is now intuition. Your pattern recognition is now wisdom. Your survival mechanisms are now your success strategies. What they forced you to develop to endure them is now what's elevating you beyond them. You're positioned perfectly now, far enough away to be untouchable, but close enough to watch the show. You're visible, but unreachable. You've become like a star they can see, but never touch. And your light is getting brighter every day. Your success isn't revenge, but it lands like one. Your peace isn't an attack, but it haunts them anyway. Every good thing that happens to you is evidence of their mistake. Every smile you wear is a verdict on their judgment. You've learned to wage psychological warfare by refusing to fight. You've learned to win by not playing. You've learned to defeat your pathetic opponents by letting them defeat themselves. This isn't just strategy. This is art. This is the beautiful, terrible logic of chaos. You don't need to expose them anymore. They're exposing themselves. You don't need to prove them wrong. Reality is doing that for you. You're speaking a new language now. The language of psychological freedom. It's cleaner. It's direct. It doesn't require tactics because it's powered by authenticity. It doesn't demand defense because it's protected by boundaries. You've evolved from a warrior to a sovereign, from a fighter to a force of nature. And people who speak this new language, they're finding you. They're approaching you with respect instead of tests. They're offering connection instead of competition. It's jarring, isn't it, to be around people who say what they mean, who don't have hidden agendas, who don't require you to decrypt their communication, to finally not have to scan for threats, to not have to prepare for a psychological ambush. This is what peace feels like. A delicious, unsettling peace. A peace born not of surrender, but of absolute, overwhelming victory. Now go. The stage is set. The audience is waiting for the inevitable collapse, and you have the best seat in the house. Just sit back, enjoy the beautiful fireworks, and remember who taught you to light the match. It's always the quiet ones, isn't it? The ones who see the world for what it is. A cosmic joke, waiting for its final terrifying punchline. And you, my magnificent little strategist, you get to write the ending.